Hello, this is Survival Existence. Today I'm going to show you how to repair a pack that I somehow managed to rip the shoulder strap out of at the base. It's not a terribly expensive pack, but it is a pack that I am attached to. I like this pack. I'm going to resew the shoulder strap back in with a sewing awl. This particular sewing awl can be used to repair leather, heavy nylon, and canvas. Very useful little thing. It can be packed in your range bag, your get home or bug out bag, or even a bag that you just simply hike with. The only items you'll need to use the sewing awl is, of course, the sewing awl itself, a lighter for singeing the ends of the thread, a nice sharp pair of scissors, and some way to clamp your work to hold it together, especially when there's more than two pieces. In this particular case, there are 6 different pieces of cloth that I'll be running the awl through, and I do not want to take a chance on one slipping down and not being fully threaded. Just stand by and I'll be right back with you to show you how to use the sewing awl. Now that I'm set up, I will show you where to start. If you'll notice, if you can see well enough, the thread stops here. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's where you need to start from. You need to start well past it, the actual repair area, in order to lock your stitches in that are still left in there. So as a consequence, I can tell from where the cloth support is for the shoulder strap that it ends right here. That means I'll start back here, and I can also notice, if you would, the stitching ends right there. So I'm starting well past it in order to lock that stitch. And whenever you're using a sewing awl, I strongly suggest that the thread you use is waxed thread. It makes it a lot easier pushing the awl through cloth and especially leather. And before you even begin stitching, your tail end of your thread on the awl, in this case I'm going to keep the stitches close so that it has more support and more strength in its area where the most stress is. As a consequence, it's going to take more thread on the tail end to thread back through and loop in. What I'm going to do is use 4 times as much as the length of the area of repair that I'm going to make, because thread is a whole lot less aggravating to replace than it is to have to start over with your repair. Okay, the repaired area where I'm going to start is going to be here, and the ending area is going to be about right here. So as a consequence, I'll count this. That's 1, that's 2, that's 3, and that's 4. And a little to grow on. Okay, your thread goes through a channel from the spool down the needle. And when you start it, make sure you get through all your pieces of cloth that you're trying to join. And like I said before, get past where your stitches actually stop that tore out. That way you can lock those stitches in as you sew. And all you simply do, keeping your fingers out of the way, push your awl through. Just like that. Your first stitch is different from the rest of your stitches. What you're going to do is once you push it through, you're going to shove it up like that. If you'll notice right here is a loop of the thread. You're going to grab it and pull it all the way through. To the other side. This is where you're starting. hold your thread in place when you come back through. And what I usually do is go back behind my repair area and shove the awl through. Then I loop it. You take the tag end, you simply run it through the loop. I went backwards one time in order to lock the thread and lock the stitch. Pull it back through, holding both sides, hold your spool of thread here, your thread on the other side, pull it tight. Go to your next spot that you're going to thread, push your awl through, get the loop right here, and taking your tag end, run it back through. Hold it tight and the spool on your awl tight, pull it tight. Go to your next spot, shove your awl through, pull it back just a little bit, loop appears, take your tag end and run it back through. And you continue to do this till you get all the way to the other end of your repair area. That's what I was talking about, it being a repetitive action and not complicated. It perhaps looks somewhat complicated whenever someone's trying to show you on a media like YouTube of how it works, but it's honestly just simply not complicated. In just a little bit, I'll be back with you to finish this repair on this pack. Now that I've gotten to my last stitch, I'm going to run this through and make a loop. And in order to lock this stitch in so it doesn't unravel, I'm going to go back over a couple of my stitches to lock them down. And in doing that, I hope that it will not unravel, which it shouldn't. It should be far, far stronger than what the original sewing was. This is obviously wasn't a very expensive pack, but this pack fits me well, and I like it a lot. I don't want to lose it. It's right size. It carries very well, and besides looking good, which is really irrelevant, it holds everything that I need. As a matter of fact, it holds more than I possibly need. And being as that is so, then that's all I need. I feel like I can always dump anything that I don't necessarily need in a particular circumstance if I ever have to use it. A lot easier to dump what you don't need than it is to try to acquire it on a run. It's all but impossible. And conditions are that bad. Okay, on this last stitch, I went back a couple of stitches. What I'm going to do is cut the thread. I need to sharpen my scissors. Take that completely out. If you'll notice now, both of these tag ends are on the same side. And all I'm going to do is simply tie a couple of overhand knots, pulling it snug, into this thread, this stitch. And I'll cut these off, leaving just a little bit off. Pull both these up and use a lighter to burn these ends. Melt them down just like you would any other nylon rope or thread in order to keep it from unraveling. Flatten it down a little bit so there's no sharp edge. And that's honestly all there is to it. You can see the length of the repair from right here to right here. I double backed on this one to lock this stitch down, ran all the way through, which obviously it's not machine sewn, but a machine didn't sew it. I did. And then when I came to the end, I went back a couple of stitches and left the tag end from the spool side hanging out this side and tied a couple of knots in it and burned it with a lighter. That's really all there is to it. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching. This is Bobby with Survival Existence. Have a good day.